right now. I think that Phil is as hungry as he's ever been, and he's very sharp. He works out every day. He does yoga every single day. He meditates every day. He eats a very strict diet. You can see, you know, he's very lean right now. He's lost a lot of fat, and he just is. It's amazing to see. He's the healthiest I've ever seen him. I've known him for a long time, and
also in terms of just from brief conversations with him, I think it's the game he likes playing at this point. You know, in a certain sense, he's kind of been right both times, even though he actually lost those pots. His feel was right. It's just the run out didn't really work out for him. But yeah,
all in. He wants to play pots against everyone. He wants to see flops, turns, and rivers. And I do think that he will shine on the later streets over, you know, the new age guys who may know how to play ICM well or pre-flop well. I think if he gets you to the turn of the river, those guys are going to be scratching their head kind of a lot. And I think today's tournament, the 150K, where we start off 400 antes deep, he's going to be a nightmare.
Sure, 100%. And this is something I've noticed and pointed out is the difference in the play styles. There's a number of the players that have a pre-flop, very like shove or fold. I've noticed is it seems like the guys who who are good playing post-flop tend to be some of the best short deck players, like steel pots and whatever.
Great fold by Seth here.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I completely agree. But what I think you're seeing is people in a vacuum see if Seth peeled the king jack of diamonds here, he'd be in a lot of trouble. Now Tony just called the C bet, so and this is a very safe card for Ivey's range, so he's going to keep barreling away for sure. And I'd say Tony will just call. Actually, he's just when they're this deep, I think that he's just going to be afraid of being oversetted.
Really?
Yeah, I think so.
And you just give, but three-way, like so many draws?
Yeah, but you're in position on the other guy. Like the jack is never going to improve Chidwick, basically. Sure, you can let Chidwick, like, float again with 9-8. But I just think that, well, that's actually a very big bet from Ivey. So there is a chance Tony puts him in here.
Yeah, versus that size.
Yeah, because Chidwick's only got 835 back.
My intuition is Tony's going to raise. Just the way I've seen him play. Yeah. I just feel, that makes all the sense.
It's a good play. It's a good play. I think Ivey might fold here. I mean, you got to put the guy exactly on. This is a really tough spot because there's just a chance that Tony G called the flop with King X of spades and it's just kind of like, whatever, man, I'm all in. Hopefully you fold. If you don't, I've got the best hand. But I can see Ivey making a fold here.
Maybe it's reasonable to think Tony calls that hand quite a bit, though.
Yeah, but I mean, you're just chopping with value a ton, right? Like,
I mean, if he folds here, it'll be precisely because of folds like this.
Yep.
Right.
Whenever he was on his big heater in Cyprus, winning everything, I came up and I talked to him about it, and we were just talking about life in general, and he said something that really stuck with me, where he said,
Tony.
There's good table talk, I'll wait.
Yeah. Oh, wow.
Yeah.
But yeah, he said to me, you got to
getting Tony to react a little here, right? I mean, Tony will give a little smile, this, and now, okay, anyway, what did he say?
Yeah, he was talking about winning and losing with grace and talking about how much luck there just is involved in life and in poker. And I just thought it was a really cool thing to hear him say. You know, he was winning his second tournament of the week, and it was just him and I. There was no one around. He didn't have to be politically correct. And he just said, yeah, I mean, I'm running hot, and, you know, you got to take it with grace. Sometimes you're the big loser, and some weeks you get a great week like this. And he's, like I said, he's just in a fantastic headspace. Scary guy to play against right now. I do think a great concern is the same hand. I mean, why wouldn't Tony just shove King Jack here sometimes? Like, Chidwick only had 800K back. It was, you got to think top, you know, maybe Ivey's betting aces, maybe he's betting ace king, and
you're starting to make
what a fold.
Yeah, you're starting to make some, I think, beyond whatever physical stuff, I think you do start to make some exploits where it's okay, to a pot size here, he's gonna have the sets, maybe the same hand, And maybe he actually still calls some of the combo draws.
But I think like
exploit.
rather than just like breaking down the analysis of the hand, I think you got to give credit to how sick of a fold that is. I mean, that's a ridiculous fold to make in this game.
Where, like, you know, in no limit hold'em, you're like, okay, all in pre-flop, they probably got queens plus, ace king plus in this game. Now you got to include those hands and include jack 10 suited, queen jack suited, like all these different hands. It's definitely a very action-oriented game. You know, it's fun for the players, fun for the viewers. Pocket queens on the dealer button.
This hand, same thing. It wouldn't be a bad hand to just go all in with, secure what's in the middle.
Yeah, different players do have different strategies. Divorce going to raise here. It wouldn't surprise me if Ben Lamb plays as aggressive. He just shoved jack 10 suited pre-flop last hand.
Cool.
So he does make the call.
What's up?
Okay.
Good.
All right, so we have bottom two pair for Ben Lamb, who's trailing against Divorce's queens when you look at the statistics.
Yeah. I'll tell you though, pocket queens here, it's not too fun to play on this board. So he is going to bet.
8,000.
It's a very small bet. It's not very common in short deck to see these small bets. Pretty much lets your opponent call with anything. Makes it actually really confusing to play post-flop.
It's pretty cool if he decides to put multiple bets in, knowing that he blocks king-queen. Look at that, though.
I think Divorce is like, well, I actually didn't expect to hit these strip queens, but I'll take it. It makes a lot of sense for him to consider checking here because, say he bets, his opponent has a king, goes all in, then what? Price yourself out, something silly. So he does check.
Yeah. Wow.
That is the perfect card because the flush doesn't get there.
Yeah, yeah, exactly.
I mean, he loves this full house. He's just
10. 10. 10.
10,000.
just bets 10,000.
Some 8-9 maybe.
Yeah, or maybe make his opponent. I don't think he's going to fold jack 10. He's just like, oh, I induced him because I bet so small.
Yeah.
I mean, Ben Lamb knows his opponent can definitely have a big hand like queens here or like aces, you know, ace jack. Then sometimes when you bet so small, you're like, oh man, did I induce him? You know, it's definitely not a fun spot here.
Yeah.
I mean, if Ben Lamb can fold this would be amazing.
Yeah, that would be very, very impressive. Especially, I think the key point is there, what you mentioned, is the fact that he bets small himself. That makes it so hard to get away with because he has a much stronger hand than he's trying to represent.
Yeah.
I mean, what if somebody has ace-10?
So I think
You don't have any cover too. You have 80, 81.
so. Some things maybe Ben Lamb thinks about. Okay, how much does Divorce play short deck? Is he that sick to make a play in this game type that he may be less experienced in? When you're in this situation, you're always trying to think, okay, what kind of hands my opponent would bluff with? Wow, that's an amazing fold.
That is incredible.
That is incredible.
There were 50 antes deep.
Mm-hmm. Ido, Queen Jack suited is going to open here. He is in second place, possibly tied Bodzikowski. Greenwood picks up Ace King again.
Starts re-raising them, but doesn't matter. You have to do it sometimes.
So Greenwood is going to 3-bet the Ace King.
Thank you. Oh, yeah, no problem.
This is six-handed. Bodzikowski picks up King Queen again.
Wow.
Just going to lay it down. Sergio Ido, Queen Jack suited. It's a reasonable hand to play. It's out of position. He knows he's a big stack. He knows Greenwood's aggressive, so just gonna make the call here. Ido flops top pair, Greenwood. In this same spot, he bet 100,000 last time. I wonder if he will do it again.
Yeah, queen high flops notoriously tough to play when you have ace king.
Going to bet 100,000 again. he makes the call. Turn card's a 10, gives Greenwood extra outs. He could hit a jack. He's going to reach for a little bit of chips here. 400,000.
It's a really good barrel spot if you want to get some fold equity, because also you just gain some outs, yeah. And this is a really tough call normally when you have an underpair.
Does know his opponent would likely multi-barrel ace king, king jack type hand, so he isn't going to fold. 1.5 million in the middle. The card's a jack.
Wow.
Sergio Ido makes top 2 pair. Greenwood makes the nut straight.
What a card.
He's going to reach for. That's all of the chips.
What a decision.
Wow, so Sergio Ido is 1.19 million. If he calls and is wrong, he goes down to the bottom 2 stacks.
He just has to wonder to himself, also, would my opponent value bet here with aces or kings?
Yeah, would he make this sizing with aces and kings? That's the question he's going through. Is it only like trips plus?
Yeah.
Sergio trying to think about what his hand looks like. Does it look weak where he feels he needs to call? You gotta respect this tank with top 2 pair.
Yeah.
He is behind.
What an incredible fold!
Sergio Ido showing you why he's one of the best in the game. Folds top 2 pair.
You guys getting started off in here now.
It's time to see the sharks, and there is one of those sharks, Nick Pietrangelo, and nothing sharkier than a couple of aces to get things kicked off here at the 2,000-4,000 blind level. He opens to 9,500, and Sam Greenwood has queens, Daniel.
Well, yeah, obviously this could be trouble. You know, you bring up a good point. We expect to see sort of a different brand of poker at the highest level when you have all the geniuses up against each other.
95.
High-level poker, a little bit different than what we saw from the amateur, or whatever you want to call it, non-pro table. Be interesting to see some of the plays we're going to... Wow, look at this. Re-raise, out of position with the queens.
And I do think that we have witnessed a lot of cautious play on the pro side of the bracket prior to the merger, as they definitely want to allow themselves not to get busted before the field merges, and they have an opportunity to play with these proverbial whales.
Yeah, I mean, you would think so. You think to yourself, well, I mean, I just want to be in there for the next stage of the event, but these guys are going at it. Obviously, both have big hands. Nick looking to get it in with the aces.
Pietrangelo has won just under 900,000 playing this year. It's the first year in which he hasn't eclipsed $1 million since 2014. So he's either playing a lot less, or these aces aren't holding as often as they used to. 4 bets to 160,000, the dilemma for Greenwood. And once the 4 bet comes in from Nicky P, Daniel, Sam is definitely going to be facing a very narrow range.
Yeah, no question about it. And I think call is the right play, as deep as they are. It's just, you know, to put in another 700,000 with queens without seeing a flop is a little bit too aggressive, I would say. And this is a flop that's trouble for Greenwood. No overcard to his queens. If it came an ace or a king, it'd be easier to get away, but with 2 queens on this board, if he called pre-flop, he's got to continue after this flop and likely lose all his chips.
Especially when facing the downsized 75,000 chip C-bet. Now the 6 of clubs on the turn, the sort of board texture that doesn't rate to have connected with either of these holdings. And best case scenario for Greenwood here, Daniel, he's up against an ace-king.
275,000.
Well, obviously he's got him probably ranged somewhere in the neighborhood of aces, kings, or ace-king. And at this point, you know, if you've got 2 queens, you obviously beat 16 combinations versus, you know, just the 12 of the aces and the kings. The question for him now is, would he play ace-king this way, or would he check back the turn? Tough to get away. Wow! That's an impressive laydown there with 2 queens. I don't know that many players in the world could ever make such an impressive laydown. Really, really tough to get away from queens on that board.
Well, Greenwood didn't get as far as he has in these circles without having that in his arsenal.